Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the new season for the Go Battle League. I know I haven't done really videos in quite a while. Again, it's a bit of a transitioning period and it's going to continue for quite a bit now as well, where videos not going to be as frequent as maybe I want to have it in the future, but also definitely never as frequent as it was prior. But doesn't mean that I'm not interested in the game, doesn't mean that I don't want to continue YouTube as well on a little bit on the side there. So yeah, there's going to be more content eventually coming up from me as well. I'm going to try to even get up a top team video for the Great League soonish, maybe tomorrow or the day after. We have to see on how much time we're going to get for that. But today we want to take a look real quick at this season. I want to talk about what Pokemon you want to build, what Pokemon you maybe kind of want to not build so much. And I do think it's going to be quite interesting here today to take a look at this one. Of course, I don't really want to go too much into detail because season news has been out already for nearly a week. And so people mostly know already what's going on just generally. If you haven't seen it, you can of course just pause the video here. This is all that's going to be happening. Quite cool. We have like some nice rewards. I actually like the post. I like the outfit itself. I don't think it's as bad. I saw a lot of people complain about it. Yes, could be maybe better. But I actually don't really mind it too much. I think it's kind of classy. I like it. Of course, there are going to be some interesting things here as well coming up, like the current North American Championship meta, which I haven't looked into at all. There's going to be, if there's going to be a video coming up, which is very likely going to be the case, it's going to be towards the Great League. I'm not going to do anything towards it. I don't have the time for it, sorry. I just currently still don't have the time to look into like metas like this, where you need just quite a bit of effort and work to go into. Great League is a bit easier to do. It will come up eventually again. Don't worry, like this channel is not gonna die out completely or whatever. I'm still interested. I still want to do more content on this channel. Just the time is sometimes not there. But it is time now for our move updates. We're going to take a look here what's going to happen for this season, of course. You mostly saw it all already, but I still kind of want to go through it. We have Drill Run, which is going to be one of the bigger updates of the season, being 70 power, so less damage, but less energy as well. And as it was 45 energy prior, it's going to be 40 energy now, which makes a very, very strong move. It's generally an upgrade for Drill Run, but there might be some of the Pokemon where it's actually more of a downgrade, which we're going to talk about a little bit as well here. Of course, a decrease of 10 power, it can be a downgrade in certain scenarios. Yeah, but again, we're going to talk about it. The Flash Cannon, I can't see that this is going to be having a major impact, the change. And here, again, I'm fully honest towards everything here as well. I don't think that Flash Cannon is going to be that impactful. Flash Cannon itself, we can actually take a look here real quick at that's already the predicted rankings of PvPoke. Not that many Pokemon learn Flash Cannon. And for the Pokemon, you have your Giga Hammer is definitely better. For Empoleon, we'll never use it. Aegislash, very likely you're going to stick to a Gyro Ball. Even though it could be actually an interesting side grade there, because you're already going to have the 50 energy on the Shadow Ball that you kind of need. And then you kind of already going down quite far, where you mostly not going to have the biggest impact. The only Pokemon that I could see have a benefit of the Flash Cannon change is going to be a Registeel. If this is going to mean that this Pokemon is going to be coming back to the meta, he is predicted to be in the top 100 at least. Don't think that's going to be that relevant. Hurricane, it's going to be interesting. Hurricane, there's going to be a few Pokemon that are going to be impacted of it. The main one is the Pelipperf, definitely, that you're going to want to run. Otherwise, the Articuno is going to be there, and otherwise it's going to be that crazy. So again, I feel like it's going to be quite a small update towards the season. There are going to be a few Pokemon that are going to be a bit better. There's going to be a few Pokemon that are going to be a bit worse, as we're going to see as well, with Charm being a little bit nerfed for the next season, which is of course mainly targeted towards the Wigglytuff, which has been taking over. That doesn't mean that Wigglytuff is going to go down though. Wigglytuff is still going to exist, but Wigglytuff is going to be definitely dropping in usage. But it's still not it doesn't mean that Wigglytuff is going to be now unusable or anything like this. Of course, it's going to be worse. It got nerfed at the end of the day. But the main reason why Wigglytuff was so strong was its typing. And that's, of course, never going to change. And so, yeah, normal and Fairy is just a very good type in the current meta and like recent metas generally. So Wigglytuff is going to be here to stay. Some other changes that I skipped now just because I want to talk a bit of some nerfs. It's going to be Earth Power and Gust, and actually those are going to be a bit more impactful. We want to talk about Pokemon that you want to build as well a bit later. Here, of course, some Pokemon that you don't want to build, maybe like the Charmers are not Wigglytuff. Like, they are not really that interesting with that anymore. Rep gonna get a bit of a buff. Rep is actually quite interesting because it's gonna allow you to have some Pokemon that maybe I don't even gonna talk about today here. Milotic is gonna be a little bit better, and Dragonair are gonna be a little bit better as well. Those Pokemon I don't have in here today, but they're definitely going to be Pokemon that are very interesting to take a look at. I do think that Rep is kinda fraud, personally. I do think that it's just difficult to justify to go for yeah, a normal type move that's non-stab, that is a bit more expensive. Yeah, you're gonna get the guaranteed defense drop, which is kind of cool. And now you have a bit more damage with it as well. But I feel like before it was very difficult to justify clicking a move that takes more energy than all your other moves, that does mainly less damage than all your other moves. It has no positive matchups in terms of super effectiveness. So we're really near the power boost. I'm curious on if this makes this move better. The biggest upgrade most likely is going to be actually Energy Ball, where the energy cost is going to be decreased, and as it was before, I think I was actually at 55, as far as I know. Yeah, it was 55. It's predicted to be at 45. And I think that's the only way where this makes this move any better. And that's something that's also kind of course, if I could write, it would be great. Which is going to help Ninetales, which I'm going to take a look at. We have Jumpluff here up again in the meta. There are quite a few Pokemon that really benefit from this move update though. So this could be very, very interesting. Yeah, still it's going to be interesting for like 1-2 Pokemon. Not the craziest, but it's an Omni Boost move as well, which is kind of cool. Now it's going to be at least usable. And Earthquake being buffed is actually quite interesting. Attack availability updates are always kind of cool. We're going to have the Sliggoo. Sliggoo going to be able to get Dragon Breath here. It's going to be something that is going to benefit this Pokemon quite a bit. Sliggoo is a Pokemon that has quite solid bulk, which you're going to take a look at as well. Pidgeot, Twister, not so much. Mantine Twister, quite a bit. Mantine Twister is going to be very interesting. We'll talk about this as well. Main reason is because now you have a very solid 40 energy move, which is going to be very good for it. Kecleon gets Thunder Punch, Lopunny gets Thunder Punch. We have Fairy Wind on 2 of the Fairy type Pokemon that definitely going to benefit from it. The Dynamic Punch update here on Kecleon and Melmetal, especially Melmetal, is going to be huge. We're mainly going to focus, by the way, on the Great League today, not too much on the Ultra League as well as the Master League, because I just don't have the time to look into everything, but it's mainly updates for the Great League anyway. Conkeldurr and Melmetal are definitely something that could actually benefit as well for the Master League as well, or for the Ultra League. Zapdos here is going to get Low Kick, which is cool, but a bit underwhelming. We're going to talk about it. Quackwarble is going to be getting Local, which is cool and definitely very, very strong. We have the Ledian getting 2 buffs actually. We're going to have Rollout on this Pokemon as well later on, but here Acrobatics being added. Luminion getting Gust and Swanna getting Gust. Luminion actually funny Pokemon. We're going to see Seismitoad, Icy Wind, as well as the Earth Power buff that we saw earlier. Body Summon Sliggoo. Lock on the Gigalith, interesting closer. We talk about this as well. Ledian, cool. Aqua Jet on the Starmie is actually going to be huge and people underestimate it. Aqua Jet on the Spawner, not so much. Kabutops also not that much. Surf Kingdra seems to be some hero so far, and mostly a very, very strong neutral pick for the current meta. And then we're going to have here some Shadow Ball Pokemon with Xatu, not so interesting. Coolfish, quite interesting. Lopunny, alright. Sylveon, very interesting. And then Rhyperior in the back is getting the Drill Run for the Master League. So, those are the updates. And now we're going to skip a real quick through, of course, the rankings themselves. Here for the Great League, we're going to see some changes a little bit further down. We're going to see changes here mainly with Kingdra at number 14. Again, a very nice neutral pick right now. Water and Dragon is a fantastic defensive typing. And now we have stab moves as well as bait moves. And Surf is going to help you out quite a bit because you don't need to go up to the Outrage or try to go for the Octazooka debuff, which is at just 50% chance. So Kingdra going to be one of the biggest winner. But then we're going to see also the Mantine. Mantine going to have access to the Twister, which is going to make this Pokemon quite better because it's going to allow you to just have a cheap move that does a lot of damage. So that's a win for Mantine. Mantine definitely is going to be back. Like, this Pokemon is going to be very good. Definitely build one if you haven't done that yet. Ninetales is going to be very cool with the Energy Ball because the main ways of getting rid of those Fire-type Pokemon going to be Water and Ground. And you're actually going to be able to consistently beat them, which is kind of cool. Jumpluff is going to be very strong. Drill Run on Seeking is going to be huge of a change because you're going to be able to get there faster with Peck. It's the cheapest move now, and it's going to be so important for the pacing. That's kind of great. We have otherwise Clodsire buffed with Earthquake. We have Sliggoo here at 32. I think it's a sim hero. I think other Dragon type Pokemon are quite a bit better personally. Pelipper with Hurricane is going to be very cool. I like this Pokemon a lot. And then, yeah, we're going to have Luminion at 45, which is maybe not something you expected, but with Awkward Tail, Gusts, and Slowpoke, you have a very nice taste of, in my opinion, because you're going to be able to beat the answers of those water type Pokemon as well, unless it's electric type. You're not going to be able to do that well against them. The Milotic is going to be very strong with the Awkward Tail and Waterfall as well as Rep. And we have kind of here the Melmetal still, which is going to be something worth talking about with the Dynamic Punch. Galarian Stunfisk being back with the Earthquake. But let's take a look maybe real quick as well at the other leagues before you go and deep dive a little bit more into the Great League. Ultra League. We're going to see here as well that there's not going to be that many changes, but Earthquake on the Zygarde Complete is going to be quite beneficial for this Pokemon. Kingdra is of course there, as we saw already as well. And this is the thing as well, that's why I mainly focus on the Great League, is because most of the Pokemon that are good in the Great League are going to be good in the Ultra League then as well, if they're available for them. Ninetales here is going to be strong. Registeel with a Flash Cannon could actually be a bit of a benefit for the Ultra League. Might be back there as well. I have one build, which would be kind of cool. Milotic here. Seeking, you can actually have an XR one. You need a hundo for this one. Doesn't even hit the 2500 CP. Yeah, Ninetales, Milotic, we talked about this already. Shadow and non-Shadow, both going to be good. Hippowdon with Earth Power is going to be a bit stronger as well here, as well as Earthquake on the Earthworm is actually going to be buffed, which makes this Pokemon interesting as well, just because of the coverage here they have with this thing. Aromatisse is going to be strong. Aromatisse and Seismitoad here, like very interesting Pokemon. Seismitoad is going to be more of a safe swap Mud Boy, I feel like, because you have Icy Wind for those grass type Pokemon, because you have Icy Wind as well for the flying type Pokemon that maybe want to go up against the ground type. It's going to be quite interesting with that. Aromatisse though is going to have access to Thunderbolt, which I feel like makes this Pokemon quite interesting as well. But Psyshock and Moonblast is going to be the most consistent set, but Thunderbolt could give you good coverage as well in the Great League for something like the Mantine as well as the Pelipper. Now taking a look maybe at the Master League. What changes here? Nothing crazy, to be fair. There's not really any Pokemon that's really that, yeah, big benefited from the season update. You would maybe expect something like the Zapdos there with the buff. It's not there. Pokemon that are going to be a bit better is Earth Power Garchomp. That's going to be quite a bit stronger in my opinion. Zygarde of course as well. We talked about it just now before as well. Those Pokemon are going to be definitely a bit stronger. But we're even missing Pokemon like the Rhyperior so far. Even though it got access to the move Drill Run, it's not going to be anywhere to be seen. As, yeah, Rhyperior is going to be down here. I do think it's still going to be a bit stronger. But what's actually going to be kind of interesting is, in my opinion, the Melmetal, because it's actually going to be the biggest update for this meta, because Dynamic Punch is going to be very cool against a lot of like the Kyurem Black, so for example, you're going to do more damage and double Iron Bash against the Fairy type Pokemon. It's a very cool Pokemon that just needs to avoid Landorus and Ho-Oh. So that's going to be it for the Master League. Then deep diving a little bit into the Great League, we're going to have here the Drill Run users here first, which is going to be one of the major updates. That's why I only have like a few of the slides here as well, just to showcase like the more important ones. Those are the Pokemon they may want to consider building. Here's though the thing as well, I do think for Sandslash especially as well, yeah, mainly for Sandslash, maybe even for Fearow, it could be a bit not as beneficial that Drill Run is cheaper, because yeah, you're gonna get that faster, which I do think is kind of cool, but you also kind of miss out a little bit on damage ranges there. But generally speaking, I do think that Drill Run definitely is going to be a bit more prominent for the upcoming season, because having that with a 40 energy and 70 damage is quite huge. Main benefit is going to be the Seeking here, because you're going to get faster to your first charge move, which is, for example, just not the case with Sandslash as well as the Fearow. You have Drill Peck already on the Fearow, you have Ice Punch already on the Sandslash, both 40 energy. But for example, for Dunsparce it's going to be beneficial because you're going to get there faster. For Dugong it's going to be beneficial because you're going to get there faster. Just generally now, like it's going to be the fast way to go for Dugong is going to be just go straight Drill Run, because you're going to get there after 4 fast moves only, which is going to be huge, which makes Dugong definitely one of the Pokemon that you will see quite often in the upcoming season, just because you're going to have better pacing, but all of those Pokemon are going to be worth it. Seeking is going to be a fantastic save up as well. So yeah, those are going to be those that you definitely want to build here. They're all going to be quite a bit stronger for the upcoming season. Then we're going to have some flying type Pokemon, and that's kind of what I kind of grouped this next group about. Hurricane, Pelipper, of course, Twister, Mantine. We're going to have the Jumpluff with Energy Ball, Ledian, which is kind of a funny one, Gust, Alcojet, Fly, Swanna, we saw it already, and then Low Kick Zapdos. For Zapdos, it's currently recommended to go for Brave Bird. I would go Close Combat all day if I was you, and Fly as your secondary move. Just going to allow you to have double damage there, basically, because if you, for example, just go up against like a Steel type Pokemon, yes, your fast move is going to do super effective damage, but if you have double flying type charge moves, just don't hit them at all. And I'd rather go for Close Combat, which is still a very hard hitting move. Drops the defenses the same way as the other one as well. But as you're going to see here, Jumpluff is going to be top meta. It's going to be one of the biggest meta threats. It's going to be absolutely everywhere. Pelipper, on the other hand, is going to be also a good Pokemon as well, just because of the coverage that you have with this thing. And then Mantine with Twister is going to be one of the bulkier, it's just a bulkier Pelipper basically. Has not the burst damage that you have with the Pelipper, and of course Pelipper is also the better charge move in Weather Ball, but you're going to have more bulk, which is going to be quite nice, so both of them are going to be quite better relevant. Lanian is just more of a fun pick. It's kind of cool to have, don't get me wrong, but not as strong. And Swanna looks actually really cool on paper, but Swanna is kind of doing the similar things that the Pelipper are going to do. So it's very likely just going to be worse Pelipper. That's basically what it is. You have a bit more fast move pressure with Swanna, which can be cool. You also have the option to go for Shadow Swanna, which you don't have with Pelipper yet, which could be cool, especially with the gust damage that is coming in there as well. Most likely Shadow Swanna is preferred, but yeah, it's mostly mainly going to be Pelipper and Mantine. Swanna still is cool side grade if you have them. Just the other one, just have a little bit more going for them, in my opinion. Of course, Jumpluff is going to be top tier. Zapdos is going to be a bit underwhelming in all leagues. It's not going to be as strong as you might expect. And mostly I think that Hawlucha is most likely even better than the Zapdos though. Hawlucha did really well in the recent regional as well. But because maybe Flying Press is going to be, I mean, yeah, Hawlucha is going to be stronger. Like, there's no real point of going for the Zapdos right now still. Now we have Mudboys, and as Ninetales, I didn't really want to just put an extra slide for Ninetales. Yeah, we had Energy Ball user already prior with the Jumpluff. So here are the Mudboys. Gastron actually got buffed. I saw people talk about, oh, Gastron is going to be gone now with Seismitoad being there with all the energy balls. But actually, I feel like that Gastron has quite a solid spot in the current meta. Still, I think Quagsire is like top 5 or something now. It's mostly not the preferred Mud Slapper. But I could see actually that something like Quagsire and Gastron backline would still be very strong. Or even Seismitoad and Gastron backline would be very, very strong. Depends on what we're going to have there. But we have here just the Mudboys, and you see already they're all very, very overpowered. Like, they're all very strong here. They all got buffed quite significantly, and they're all going to be very, very good. Gastron going to be very good, gets fast now to the Earth Power, which is amazing, by the way, for it. Having one less Mud Slap to the Earth Power consistently is really, really good. Toadskull got buffed with Earth Power as well, having the same thing happening to it as well. It's going to be just faster there as well. But also Toadskull has still access to remove Wrap here, which got buffed as well, which could be an interesting shout for this Pokemon if you want to just boost your own damage up a little bit more as well. But I do think it's going to be best to have Seed Bomb on this Pokemon just for pacing and just for the double step. Stunfisk back to former glory definitely has some potential, but I don't think it's going to be as strong as other Pokemon in this meta. And then Clodsire in the back is always just going to be like the Pokemon that you kind of, if you don't prepare for it, like, it's going to be a very tough Pokemon to take down. Now going to be a bit stronger as well, going to be interesting. Like, it's going to be very interesting. All of those Pokemon, absolutely worth building. Seismitoad, most say the least worth building here, as you're going to see. It's still very cool, though. It's still a very good Pokemon. They're just better Mudboys. That's all. Here more of, like, those side picks, maybe, of this update. We're going to have Sliggoo, we're going to have Kecleon, we're going to have Aromatisse, we have the Sylveon here. Sylveon and Aromatisse got access to Fairy Wind. Sylveon as well got access to Shadow Ball. Kecleon got a complete new charge moveset. And Sliggoo got Body Slam as well as the Dragon Breath. Sliggoo looks really cool right now, and I still think it's a good Pokemon. Don't get me wrong, like, when I said it's a fraud or whatever, I don't say it's a bad Pokemon per se, but I do think, like, you maybe want to even run some Naked Water Pulse or the Sludge Wave just to make it unique, because otherwise, like, you have so many Dragon type Pokemon that do practically the exact same thing, and it's just a little bit tough to justify, in my opinion, to go ahead and run this Pokemon now over others, because at the end of the day, like, what are you really gonna have for that? Like, that's different. Like, you're not gonna be able to hit any kind of Steel type Pokemon, for example, which is gonna be a bit tough. You're gonna be kind of hard locked down from any Fairy type Pokemon. Especially what do you do against the population of Tinkaton, which is still quite huge. Like, Tinkaton, of course, with the recent Community Day boost, is just going to be going to be quite a bit difficult there. So yeah, Kecleon itself actually looks really fantastic in the current meta. It's just a very nice neutral pack that has great coverage against nearly everything in the current meta, and especially the Fighting type coverage as a normal type helps out quite a bit. And then Thunder Punch's coverage against the Flying type Pokemon look fantastic on paper. That said, though, I do think that Kecleon is going to struggle a little bit with the stat product. Like, it's still alright. It's still quite, like, can definitely take a hit. But then you don't have any stab move, you don't have anything of that. But also you always have the option to go for different coverage moves, as you can see as well. You have Flamethrower, you have the Ice Beam, you have Thunder Punch and Thunder, and you have a lot of different options here, which is kind of cool. So I like this Pokemon. Aromatisse we talked about as well. That looks great on paper already. It looks actually better than Sylveon, which is kind of interesting. But I also would like to see Thunderbolt on this Pokemon just as a coverage move. Sylveon with Shadow Ball and Fairy Wind it's definitely a force to be reckoned with. Like, I definitely think it's a Pokemon I want to try out quite early on as well, because I think it's just a fun Pokemon to run. Next up, Melmetal. Here, like, more the fighting types plus water type Pokemon. We have, we can see it as well. We have Melmetal, we have Conkeldurr, we have Quaquaval, we have the Luminion, we have the Starmie, we have the Kingdra, and they all got buffed quite significantly. Starmie, I think, is going to be better than you think, because if you use it as a Say-Swap, you just go into outspeed basically everything now, which is kind of fantastic with the fast pressure that you have, with the childhood pressure that you have. I think it's a fantastic Pokemon to run. Quaquaval, what Pokemon really wants to swap, like this, which Pokemon wants to swap into like close combat and the Hydro Cannon together. You cover so many kind of different types. It's a really, really good Pokemon. Conkeldurr is actually something I pushed for. I know I don't, but I know some people that maybe have some impact towards the move updates as well. Something I pushed for like for seasons now. I just like Force Palm on this Pokemon. I think it's fantastic because they have Dark type coverage as well, and it looks actually really good on paper here. It's more designed for other leagues as well, but Conkeldurr is actually really fun fighting type Pokemon to run. Melmetal is going to be cool as well, as you're going to have access to Dynamic Punch now. You're going to have better coverage and just harder hitting move, like Dynamic Punch is one of the strongest moves in the game. And then you have Kingdra here as well, which is kind of cool. Lumineon kind of is a Pokemon that I would not recommend you to build directly. I think there are just better alternatives for what this Pokemon can do. I think it's a sim hero. And this is a video as well for it about this ball. I don't think that Lumineon is really worth it. And you kind of want to, of course, always know on what Pokemon are worth it and which ones are not. I do feel like this one isn't really worth it. And last but not least, we have some interesting picks here as well. We have Shadow Ball and the Quillfish, Lopunny with Shadow Ball and Thunder Punch now, and Gigalith with a Lock On. As you're going to see here, they're all not going to be the craziest. Quillfish is going to be a bit stronger with Shadow Ball. Lopunny is going to be a bit stronger with like a Say-So, but it's mainly more for limited metas in my opinion. And then Gigalith is actually interesting because I like Gigalith, because I think Gigalith is kind of funny in the Zero Shade scenario. Because what you have is Superpower and the Meteor Beam, and you basically one-shot everything. So Gigalith as a closer is funny, and I want to try it out. Especially you have the option to go for Shadow Gigalith as well, and you just one-shot basically everything in the meta. So it's a fun choice with Lock-On especially. I want to kind of try it out, but it's going to be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I will see you then.